Hi, welcome to this RecruitOnline and PinvoiceR training session. In this session, I'm going to talk through adjustment pays and how you can use this adjustment process within PinvoiceR to both correct a pay that you've already paid to somebody and also correct any invoices, be it an invoice or a credit note. So I'll use an example. So if we go to an employee, so a fictional employee, Andrew here, and just so we can see some previous pay slips. So imagine in this most recent week, he was paid these items. And for whatever reason, there was a mistake and he didn't actually work those afternoon shift hours. The best way to do an adjustment is to basically from an order, if you still have an order open, so if I go payroll orders and find Andrew Roberts within here, and obviously you would want it to be the same order that you had previously. If you didn't have an order open, you could use the pay employee process to find Andrew, then find the pay code and the client and undertake the same process from there. So if you click on Andrew here, what we're going to do is to use a new pay screen here. We're actually going to look at the week ending, and it's going to show you, different ones, so it's defaulting to that particular week. And we'll do an adjustment pay. And the important thing is to use the same week ending, because that's how the tax will be affected and calculated around that particular pay week that you've paid. So if I go and select adjustment hours, go enter hours, what I want to do here is to basically minus out the 6 hours of afternoon shift. So in doing that, it's going to automatically create a credit note, in this case of $311. At the same time, if I didn't wish to create a credit note, I could just go no charge, and that would only do the pay side of things. Or alternatively, if you were wanting to credit out, let's say 4 hours, you could create a credit note that's for a different quantity by doing that. So there may be scenarios where you've got different pay and charge quantities and different scenarios. Sometimes you're going to create the credit note separately to this process here. So just like any other batch, when you're ready, so you would hit that and submit that hours. And what that does, it creates an open batch, and it will, when you run that, it will break it into for that particular division and then put it into adjustments here. So what that's doing, at a high level, is taking off $207 gross for our friend Andrew here, but then it's also going through and reversing and calculating any other things, so be it the tax adjustment, superannuation adjustment, work cover, and if there were leave accruals involved with that particular shift pay code item, then those sort of things would be reversed as well. So just like anything else, when you're ready, you would process the batch and write that. And what that does, if I go to Andrew's record, is it actually adds it as a deduction or addition, if it was a positive amount, for a pay adjustment. So the way the system works is that you've already paid, whatever you did on the 30th of the 6th. So the next pay that you run, this particular adjustment would happen. And so in this case, it's a net effect of $130 from Andrew's point of view would be taken after tax from his pay. And how it works is that it will set the total amount and say that the balance is the total amount, and recalculation, yes. So if his next pay is $130 or more, it will take the total. Otherwise, it will just take what it can from that total. Now, you have instances where Andrew may not work, the next week, so it will sit there until the next time he's paid. Or alternatively, what might happen is that you might, in chatting to him about the deduction, is agree to take a certain amount out per pay. So what you would do, you'd leave the 130 there and change that to whatever amount you've agreed per pay. So if we put in the next pay, so just to explain that, so if I go from the orders, and I'll just do it from here, so by going to Andrew, and I'll select under new pay screen, I'll do the following week. Actually, I'll just go back a screen and just do it here. So 30th, say the 7th, and go next. If we do the next pay, so let's say we're going to pay him 38 hours, just for example, and save that transaction. When I now go to the batch for that next week, so you can see it's in the following week, and we run that, you'll see in the batch, so we're paying our $38, but then this is where that pay adjustment gets taken up. So the adjustment for PAYG, gross wages, super, etc., all happen when you post the adjustment batch, and then the actual amount that either adds it back to it, if you owed him money, or if you are deducting an overpayment, occurs in that next pay. So it's reasonably straightforward. Certainly if you need any assistance with that, please have a look at the online help text.